This is a time where all of our teachings, practices, knowledge are coming to a head. Next stop is embodiment and integration. It's the us becoming, the becoming, we are becoming, our evolution, where we are going, that we are the person that we've always searched for and wanted to be. We are that person right now in this very moment, in this very existence. We are that person. Hello and welcome back, or welcome. I'm Val, and I'm so glad to have you here. Welcome. So today I've got so much to talk about, so much to discuss about the current events that are happening right now. So much is going on with this solar eclipse in Scorpio, so I have so much that I've written down on it. And I'm just going to talk about it because there's a lot of amazing things going on. Also, it's really important to me because I had this huge realization about last year's new moon in Scorpio. So it's just so amazing. I don't know. So this video might be long. I don't know yet. So get comfy and let's begin. Let's chat about what is happening. The next 3 to 6 months ish are gonna be super transformational, one, and just like a powerful time for us. I feel like it's also gonna be really kind of like a breaking down, almost destruction, and we can find ourselves like really falling all over the place in the next 3 to 6 months, but there's a method to the madness. I first want to talk about the sign of Scorpio, the planet Pluto, and what an eclipse even is. So I've got that all here. This event is happening in the sign of Scorpio, so we've just entered Scorpio season, and we know a little bit of, like, not a little bit, like, we might hear some things about Scorpio being, you know, kind of secretive, a little bit, they're interesting characters for sure. They can tend to go more towards the shadow or the darker sides of things. They find a lot of interest in that. But also the Scorpio in the tarot is the death card. So it is a planet, not a planet, it is a sign of death and rebirth and transformation. And it says here, Scorpio uses its transforming and resurgent powers to cleanse and heal itself. Unafraid of death, Scorpio strips away the superficial and extraneous. It surgically eliminates the unessential and false to reveal the bare bones. It uncovers deeper truths, discovers its true nature, and reveals its innate essence. I think that is amazing for this time period that we're entering to, and maybe you felt a little bit of this, like, and a little bit, maybe you felt a little bit of this in the past weeks, but it's going to come up really strong in the next few weeks, which I just pulled this information on Scorpio, Pluto, and the eclipse, and it just matches my message that I received so perfectly. So Pluto is a ruler of Scorpio, so all signs have a ruling planet. So I'm a Gemini, my ruling planet is Mercury, so when Mercury goes into retrograde, I'd be all over the place. Pluto is a planet of regeneration, transformation, and rebirth, similar to the sign of Scorpio. Pluto symbolizes regeneration, transformation, and rebirth. Even when it doesn't look like it, things get done with Pluto. A new approach and a new perspective is what the planet Pluto is all about. It helps an individual look at things differently, transform or evolve their views, and emerge with new outlooks on life. So we have a huge theme of transformation, death, rebirth, regeneration. Reinvention has been a huge theme for me the past few weeks, so just very confirming. And lastly, what is an eclipse? The eclipse cycle serves a key role, and that is triggering change and transformation. Eclipses have a way of revealing old patterns, insecurities, limitations, and even fears. When you become aware of these lower vibrational energies within and around you, you then have the power and opportunity to heal, transmute, and let them go. Solar eclipse represents good opportunities to reflect, heal, and transmute lower frequency patterns into habits and patterns that will serve us. Solar eclipse, which happens during new moons, reveal new beginnings and new possibilities in a supercharged way. So there are so many opportunities right now for us to renew, become new. But it's really up to us. All right, so let's get into the more in-depth message that we're being called to understand, to see, and experience with this solar eclipse. And again, the effects are going to last within this 3 to 6 months period. And just in personal experience, in May, I was going through a really hard time, and something told me, go to your journal and look at November. The weirdest things, that's very specific. Go to your journal and read November. And it was the new moon in Scorpio. And I had, just like I have here from this year, last year I had one written down for new moon in Scorpio. And something said, go back, look at it. And that was in May. So it had been 6 months. And I realized that I had went through an entire death process during that 6 months time, this transformation. And it almost felt like preparing for a death process. It was like everything, all these events leading up to this huge transformation that has continued to just amplify even thereafter. It's been a year now, okay? And it's still something, I've still been going through this whole process. So that just shows how transformational and how huge some of these astrological events can be. So, and it's going to affect everybody differently. This is just a collective reading or a collective message. This is just, it might not affect you in this way, but it's nice to have kind of a heads up about kind of the energies that we're going to be working through. So, very interesting energies, okay? I started by noting that, yes, I feel like this is going to be a time for newness, new opportunity, new possibilities, but something was off about that. It didn't feel like that's entirely what this was. It felt so much more grand than that. It felt like this was going to be a big turning point for a lot of people. Okay. If you see me looking down, I'm reading the notes, okay? So I recognize that there's a circling or a cycling of energy, and I kept feeling and hearing like a record tape stuck on a loop. It felt like a tape was jammed, like it kept repeating, it kept repeating, it kept repeating. I'm like, what's that about? And for me, that represents a lot of the cycles that we continuously find ourselves in, a lot of the repeating patterns. And these are being highlighted very strong this period. And I even feel like we're going to be placed in similar circumstances that we've already experienced, just to have these cycles, these patterns face to face, and like, okay, are you able to recognize where these patterns lie and almost like why they keep occurring? I was getting a very strong ancestral karmic cycles, the breaking down of ancestral generational cycles, generational patterns, karmic cycles, patterns are breaking down. I also was feeling like this strong ancestral backing, like spirit having our back. A lot of also understanding a little bit more. That's why I think it's so important to look into family history. For me, it's more of I'm a weirdo and I be observing a lot. I observe a lot. I'm a people watcher. I be looking at people. I be analyzing a lot of things, and maybe it can be to my detriment sometimes, but I look at things a lot and I hear a lot of things, and from what I hear, I really start to unpack it. So looking at your situation in your family life and honestly seeing how that has bled into your personal life. Our childhood really shapes us, but also sometimes even recognizing where you can find, you know, your parents in your relationship, right? It's just so interesting. Or even finding like your siblings in your relationship. So being aware of some of these patterns that we continuously find ourselves into. So then while I was doing this, reading this message, I was getting some of the cards that I made. It came out dishonest in relationship to desire. Dishonest in relationship to desire. And then I started to kind of unpack that. And I wrote that it feels like there's an energy that is stuck because it is no longer being fulfilled. The energy has gone elsewhere, creating an unnatural imbalance. Spirit wants us back on track. Okay? I feel as though there's this pull, this really divine spiritual pull for us right now to be incredibly in tune with ourselves and what we want and what we desire. And it's so funny because I was reading, and the statement for Scorpio is I desire, and being honest with what that is. Because a lot of the times what we think we want, the cars, the money, the clothes, the house, is not what the spirit wants. And becoming honest with what is truly desirable for us, no matter how lame it seems, no matter how grand it seems, right? Honestly, even no matter how materialistic it seems, because when you, I guess, you know, when you start to really delve and unpack why these are your desires, you might find yourself being like, maybe that's not even what I really wanted. Maybe I want something else. And maybe you start to break down and realize what is truly valuable to you. You might have stopped doing something, stopped working on something, and you might feel called back to putting energy back into it. This feels like maybe something you stopped because of doubt or fear. And you might want to place energy back into it to get it back going again. This could also be moving out of procrastination and into more inspiration, and moving into more of a creative energy rather than just kind of letting life pass you by. I also feel like this season, this eclipse season, is to shake us up into realizing that we don't have to sit down and let everything pass us by, that we can do something, we can get up, we can move, we can find things that are truly meaningful to us and place ourselves in those environments and allow that to become big parts of our lives rather than the parts that are rigid and not very meaningful. I was feeling, I was, you know, while I was doing this, I was getting the world is watching. I was feeling this huge connection between us as individuals and spirit. I was getting like this card, it's called co-create, and it feels like that's what is really being required of us, a collaboration between us and spirit. Also, one of my cards was the strength card that came out. So clearly we're going to be required to endure, like our endurance, our resilience is really required right now, like seriously, as it's been, you know, the past few months. But right now more than ever, you need to acknowledge your strength and the power that you hold. But I was looking at this card and I noticed that half of her face was a lion and then she had a lamb. So of course, this is the first time I've got this. Lion and the lamb came up for me. The significance of the lion and the lamb. This is Jesus Christ. He endured death as a lamb, and he conquered death as a lion. He devoured death as a lion. That's what it says. Okay, so this was huge for me. This was a huge kind of realization that came through with the Christ consciousness and connecting to the heart. That's been a really big thing. I didn't know if this was something that was coming up because I had been just researching or been really looking at a lot of information and videos related to Christ and Christ consciousness, but it came up and it was kind of perfect. Connecting to the heart. So with Leo, with the strength, with the lion, this is about pride, right? And pride is the ego, but also connecting to the heart and courage. And I received a reading long ago with this reader, and she said, it was my birth chart reading. I'm a Leo rising. And she said, the power of Leo is so beautiful and so strong. Leos can be extremely compassionate. A lot of us see Leos as really arrogant, really flamboyant, really showy, flashy. But we have the choice of the power of love or the love of power. And finding that and being and choosing love over power is huge, It's not just huge in this season, it's huge in life, okay? But I also noticed that in my cards, the infinity sign was carried throughout the reading, and that was kind of crazy. It's like all these cards in the deck don't have the infinity symbol, so the cards that came out with this symbol, it was heavily significant that there is this rotation, this figure 8 giving and taking rotation, this balance that continues to happen around us, and also being aware that there's this effortless flow of resource, effortless flow of abundance, effortless flow of love that is here for us, and that we are not subjected to lack, even though a lot of us experience feelings of lack. Even myself right now, I will not lie, I've been definitely in an energy of lack, and it happens, but it is very clear to me that there's flow that we can tap into energetically, like just through us. Okay. There's a huge need for rest, recharging, replenishing, and I guess retreating, just taking that step back, because this is huge. This is really big emotionally, can be very destructive. Like, and you might see this video and then a couple months later you probably forget about all of this and find yourself in like such a rut. But just so much is leaving our body, so much is leaving our mental state, so much is leaving and being renewed. And that's what this time is for, is to really take time back and examine a little bit just of ourselves, and find a deeper appreciation for self and a deeper love, a deeper truth for ourselves. I don't know what's going to be happening in the next few months, but it does feel like there's going to be a pull towards religion. I was also getting that there might be situations or feelings of almost feeling unloved or unworthy, that we're going to have to really fight through and really find the strength through. And that's why I said there's such a need for self-appreciation and deep self-love right now, because we might find ourselves in situations where we're like, oh my gosh, like, am I just a piece of garbage? You know what I mean? And you're not a piece of garbage, but it's like some of these situations are almost going to really push us to find ourselves, and our true identity is coming up for me as well. The identity, the truth, the acceptance, radical self-love has been popping up in cards for me. Radical acceptance. This is going to be huge, and it's like this coming cycle that we're in is almost like make or break for us. For me especially, seriously, for me especially. There's a great healing taking place that seems to only naturally allow us to ascend. Connection to the heart and the higher realms. Also, Christ consciousness keeps being highlighted. Let's see. Huge releasing. A huge... I just heard cry for help. So, I don't know what that means for you, cry for help. Maybe you feel like this is finally the time for you to go see a therapist to help sort out some of these feelings that you've been going through. Maybe you're recognizing that, okay, this wasn't just a phase or cycle, I need help. I also was getting suffering in silence, so you could be suffering in silence and feel the need to not talk about your problems, but suffering, like, suffering in silence suggests you're suffering. So needing to really take care of yourself. And there was also something about self-care and the routine. In routine, maybe it's implementing more care for yourself in your routines. I was also getting solo travel or solitude, solidarity, but mostly that solitude energy, that hermit kind of energy. Maybe you feel the need to go into isolation. I've been hearing a lot of readers talk about how important it is for us to kind of be together right now, which I do think is important, but I always found value in introspection and going within, so that might be beneficial for you as well. Okay, and now I have accessing consciousness through the heart, accessing consciousness through the heart, and not where we all think that it comes from, which is the mind, and understanding that we have so many filters in the mind that kind of prevents us from understanding truth and understanding authenticity in ourselves and other people. So connecting to the heart and opening up the heart has been very important to me, because the heart holds a truth that we don't always notice, that we don't always see, we don't always feel. Because even sometimes our emotions don't really tell the truth of a situation. They don't. I know this firsthand. I'm highly emotional. So just a little bit more. This is a time where all of our teachings, practices, knowledge are coming to a head. Next stop is embodiment and integration. It's we are becoming, our evolution, where we are going, that we are the person that we've always searched for and wanted to be. We are that person right now, in this very moment, in this very existence. We are that person, and embodiment is key in taking all of the knowledge that we have and putting it to use. I have been hearing from other people, practice what you preach, referring to myself practicing what I preach. And this is, again, practice what you preach type of energy, being the embodiment of the knowledge that you have and of the teachings that you have been called to listen to, or even the practices that you've been practicing right now. It's just the full embodiment of the things that we've been learning, putting our knowledge to good use. Also, this energy of devotion, and I feel like this is a devotion to self, and devotion to the people, the things that we love. Finding time for the people we love, the things that we love, being heavily and thoroughly devoted into creating a plentiful, abundant, loving life for ourselves. Okay. And lastly, it feels like this purification, right? Which would only make sense with a death and rebirth, right? We die with a lot of the heavy baggage, and we were born pure and innocent. So it feels like this purification is taking place, and that's why there's this huge need for release, is because the toxins, we're releasing everything that is not pure, and bringing in everything that is pure into our life. We're embodying more pureness into our lives. To purify means to remove contaminants from. So if we're purifying our lives, we're purifying ourselves, our bodies. Not only are we, maybe we're going on a detox if that's what you feel called to do, but also purifying what we put in as in media, purifying what we put in as in food, as in, I just got even perfume. That's so interesting. But even like the leaders that we decide to listen to, purifying in all meanings of the word and all meanings of all parts of life. Okay, and I wrote that we're releasing inferiority to step into power, we're releasing procrastination to move into creation, and we're releasing impatience to and fear for trust and patience, which is going to be required as we move through a little bit of turbulence, but such is life, right? Everything that I've really talked about isn't something that is going to come up as big surprises, although there is this expect the unexpected type of energy. Although it might sound like, oh my gosh, I'm so scared, it's going to flow just like life, right? The point of this is to realize, this is not random. This isn't something that has just happened just because. No, this is very divinely ordained, and it's very specifically unique to the time, right? And when I say specifically unique to the time, if you go back and kind of look at your life through time periods, you almost realize how cyclical it is, and how it almost reflects itself in a way. It's so interesting. That's why I value journaling so much. It's because I go back and I can look at exactly where I was, and the similarities are almost uncanny. Oh my gosh, it really is. But excuse me, it's like it occurs in different ways, right? The trials that we face, it's not the same people all the time. It's like the same story, different actors, different characters, maybe different scenery, different things are happening, but that's almost like such a beauty. Once you realize it, you can always kind of make note of it and get through some of the issues that were so hard for you to get through before. Okay, but this is a huge time period of growth. This is a huge time period of learning about yourself and who you are, reinvention, honesty, truth, becoming, okay, embodying the divine person that you truly are. And of course, this is, like I said, not just some event that you're just going to see all this aspects take place. No, it's going to flow like life, because it is. This is just like a heads up, really. It's like a heads up, so you can kind of understand. And like I said, the energy moves through all of us so differently, so maybe none of this is for you and you're at a completely different part of life, and that's okay. That's how it works. We're all in different parts of life. So that being said, this video is so long. I'm so sorry. I had so much to say. I was kind of a little bit all over the place maybe, but I always think I'm all over the place. And while I'm looking down, I have written down life just gets better. Okay, life just gets better. So if you're going through it right now, know that you're going to get through the other side. There will be a light. There is a light at the end of the tunnel. Although it seems so dark right now, there's a light. You are the light. You're the light. But I'm so grateful for you to be here. This was so awesome for me to receive. I was really into this one. I really was. It was so beautiful when it came out, and I pray that you're able to kind of feel some of that energy that I felt while I was doing this, and how transformative the next 3 to 6 months are going to be. Obviously during that time there's going to be a lot of other astrological events, so I don't know if the energy withers or wears away. I'm not too sure how that all occurs. I just know in my experience how transformational the new moon in Scorpio was for me. So I pray that you know, you find something that you resonated with, or that you come back in 3 to 6 months and you're like, oh my god, that was so crazy. Yeah. So much love and so much light and darkness, because you cannot have one without the other. Okay, be gentle, be kind with yourself and other people, please, please. There's so much happening in the world right now and in our communities, so finding a way to be strong in yourself so that you can be strong for other people, because you can't be there for other people if you're not there for yourself. It just creates a lot of instability all around. So be kind to yourself and other people. I'm so blessed and so glad that you were able to stop by. I'm so sorry the video was so long. I was just so invested. I was so invested. Okay, thank you so much, and I will see y'all next time. Okay. Oh wait, don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe, and follow me on Instagram at beyondquartz, and book a reading with me at beyondquartz.com if you feel called. So much love, so much light and dark.